Welcome to Research Talk. I hope you all are enjoying our journey together on qualitative research. We covered in our previous video about individual interviews and what are some consideration a researcher should keep in mind while conducting individual interview. In today's video, I'm going to talk about focus group interviews, another kind of interview that is a popular form of conducting interviews. So we will talk about some of the key consideration that researchers should keep in mind while conducting focus group interview. So first thing first, what is a focus group interview? So as the word itself suggests, it's a group interview, meaning that instead of conducting individual interview with each participant separately, you conduct a group interview. So you have a collection of participants together and you interview them using the same interview protocol, not same, but you develop an interview protocol and you use that interview protocol, those questions to guide your data collection in a group format. A bit of history about this method. So this method of data collection was primarily started and being used by marketing researchers. So many times companies, they build new product, they wanted more feedback, or maybe they are planning to launch a new product, so they wanted feedback from their consumers. So doing individual interviews obviously take more resource and time. So group interviews, they started using it to minimize cost and also reaching out to more and more consumers to understand their perspective about their products. So that's briefly about the history of this method. So let's talk about some of the considerations. So number one consideration is number of participants. Number of research participants. How many research participants are good and effective for a focus group interview? So the size of participant which is highly recommended is between 6 to 10 participants. And the decision is based on you want a diversity of views. So you want at least 6-7 participants in your group, so that you have different viewpoints and discussion points coming from different perspectives and different participants. But you also don't want to make it too large. So if you have, let's say, 15-20 people in a group interview, it really becomes not effective because everybody may not have a chance to talk about. So if the group is too big, it will limit the time that each participant has to share their perspective. If the group size is too small, then you will lack the diversity that a participant bring in a group format. So when you think about number of participants for your focus group interviews, think about somewhere between 6 to 10 participants. In terms of structure, like semi-structured, unstructured interviews, a highly used method is semi-structured interview for a focus group interview. So semi-structured interviews are like you have your questions, open-ended questions, predefined questions, but you can tweak those questions. You can have some more follow-up questions based on the discussion, based on what the participants are sharing. So it's structured, but not completely structured. So it's semi-structured interviews are used for focus group. In terms of location, in terms of format, not location, focus group interviews can be done, traditionally they were done in person. But nowadays, after COVID, I've seen an increase in uh, researchers using online online group interviews. So in person is, as it says, like you are meeting, having a group interview in person, and online is you can use video formats such as Zoom to conduct your interviews. Obviously, each methodology of whether in person or online comes with certain limitations and advantages. In person, obviously, you have more um, uh, access to non-verbal data while you are conducting the interviews. Um, the limitation is sometimes when participants are coming from different geographic locations, it's very hard and it costs money to. Uh, and similarly with online focus group interviews, the advantage is it's less cost of less involves less resources because you can have interviews with people joining you in the group from different parts of the world, different geographic locations. So it makes it a lot, logistically speaking, a lot easier. The limitation again is you have less access to non-verbals of your research participants during interviews. So that's about the format. Depending on what your research focus and purpose, you can decide which format you want to use for your focus group interviews. In terms of some other considerations is make sure the space is important consideration. So space is quiet. The space you choose is easily accessible for all the participants, and there is less distraction in the space you are using. With the distraction, also make sure people keep their cell phone either switched off or aeroplane mode to make sure that you have less distraction while conducting your interviews. So space should be easily accessible and quiet so that there is less distraction for your interviews. So these are a few considerations that one should have while conducting your group interviews. Now let's talk about a very important aspect of conducting focus group interviews. Now in a focus group interviews, you are a moderator. You are a moderator who is facilitating the interviews. So conducting focus group interviews requires some more skills related to managing a group, understanding group dynamics, facilitating, making people feel comfortable in a group format. So I personally feel that conducting one-to-one interview, individual interview is a bit easier than conducting a focus group interviews because focus group requires an additional layer of understanding group dynamics and using the group dynamics to facilitate effective sharing and being comfortable with other group members and having more rich and thick data as from the group interviews. So, what are some skills that are important for a moderator? First of all, you as a interviewer who is conducting a focus group interview, you need to set group norms. So, as you start the interview, establish these group norms. What are some group norms that you can put in place? The first one is you want to talk about privacy, which is telling the participant that whatever they are sharing in this group is confidential and stays here. So a group member who is part of this discussion is not supposed to go out and talk about what other people in the group talked about. So privacy is important consideration. Another thing to keep in mind while talking about group norms is anonymity. Anonymity meaning that I, as a group interviewer, I can emphasize this point that whatever group members are sharing as part of this group interview, uh, it will be anonymous in the sense that when I will write my research report, when I will write my research manuscript, I will de-identify all those details uh, and the anonymity of the research participants will be maintained. Uh, so that's another point to make sure that you address uh, in the beginning of the group, telling the group that that's how you're going to do, so that the people feel comfortable to talk about their experiences with you. The group norms also include another point, which is the communication. What are some group norms related to communication? The first one is being respectful to everybody, even if people have a completely different perspective related to the phenomenon, a completely different outlook towards regarding their experience, you still are going to be respectful to each member's perspective while discussing this topic during the interview. So that's important thing. Also, being respectful also means that you listen everyone. Listen, pay attention to each one. And another thing, we are not going to cut off when a person is talking. So that's another point I have seen, that it's important to emphasize that when a person in the group is sharing their views, uh, let that person finish what they want to say before you jump in and share your views. Another challenge related to communication that might come up, and it often comes up, is some group members are talker, they talk a lot, and some group members, their personality, they are more reserved, they don't talk much. So let's say if I'm conducting an interview where a a group member is talking a lot while a group member is completely silent. So as a moderator, I need to ensure that the person who is silent, I respectfully invite this person to share their views, to sort of include people who are reserved and maybe not talking much. Sometimes some people talk a lot. So as a moderator, I can, I should handle that situation like, okay, thank you for sharing your views. Let's hear from others as well. So as a moderator, you have to ensure that everybody get a chance, everybody have a opportunity to share their views, particularly people who are quiet, people who don't talk much. And the thing I want to emphasize while in the beginning, while setting the group norm, is there is no right or wrong answer. I wrote this spelling wrong here. So it's right. So there is no right or wrong answer. So sometimes some participant might feel a little bit hesitant to talk about because they think how group members are going to respond to that views. So emphasizing this point in the very beginning of the group interview that, hey, we are here to listen all perspectives. We are here to listen to your perspective. So there is no right or wrong perspective. The idea, the focus is to understand everyone's perspective. So it's very important to focus and emphasize this point during the interview, that there is no right or wrong answer. So these are a few important things you want to keep in mind when you are conducting your focus group interviews. Focus group interviews are powerful because when people come in group, you get different perspectives, and also people develop new insights during those conversation in a group format. So it's a powerful method of data collection, and it's often used by qualitative researcher. And as I said previously, the most important thing that you should keep in mind as a moderator, that you should understand some of the group dynamics and how it works and how to include people in the discussion, maybe the people who don't talk much. And one of the most important thing as a moderator is to establish group norms, such as emphasizing privacy, anonymity, communication, being respectful, listening to everyone, and do not jump in and cut off a member, even if this person has a very different viewpoints, and also emphasizing that there is no right or wrong answer. I hope this will help you to get a preliminary sense of what a group focus group interview is, and we'll keep talking about further as we progress in the semester. Thank you very much and have a good rest of the day. See you again.